Earlier that day, Marcus Hale was sitting on a foldable chair beside a muddy soccer field. His daughter Layla had just scored her first goal of the season. She sprinted toward him, cleats caked in wet grass, arms wide open. Marcus caught her mid-jump and spun her around. Her teammates screamed with joy. The morning sun hit the dew on the field and turned everything golden. "Dad, did you see that? Did you see it?" "Baby girl, the whole park saw it." He smelled like sunscreen and cheap coffee from the concession stand, grass stains on his sneakers, a half-finished Gatorade sweating in the cup holder of his SUV. Layla's shin guards tossed on the back seat next to a crumpled juice box. Nobody at that soccer field knew who Marcus Hale was. Nobody needed to. He was just a dad cheering too loud, clapping too hard, grinning like his kid had just won the World Cup. That was the version of Marcus the world never saw. The version no magazine ever printed. Because on paper, Marcus Hale was the founder and CEO of Summit Equity Group, a private equity firm managing billions in assets. A short while before, his firm had quietly acquired a controlling stake in Heritage Community Bank. Nobody at the bank knew yet. The official announcement was scheduled soon. But Marcus did not want to wait. He wanted to walk in unannounced. No suit, no entourage, no title. Just a man walking into a bank to make a deposit. He wanted to see how the staff treated someone who looked like him when they did not know who he was. A quiet test in plain clothes. His godfather, Elias Grant, sat in the passenger seat. A retired federal judge, hands folded over a leather briefcase. He looked at Marcus over his reading glasses. "You sure about this?" Marcus nodded. "I need to see it for myself." Elias leaned back. "Then I'll wait in the car. I'm too old for fluorescent lights." Marcus smiled, grabbed the deposit slip from the glove box, and stepped out. The Heritage Community Bank branch sat like a polished monument at the edge of a neighborhood in transition. New condos rose on one side, a laundromat and a check cashing spot on the other. The building itself was all glass and limestone, designed to say, "Money lives here." Inside, the air was cold and smelled like carpet cleaner. Fluorescent lights hummed overhead. 4 teller windows lined the back wall. An American flag hung in the corner, limp and still. A security camera dome glinted above the entrance like a glass eye watching everything. 2 windows were open. At one, Tamara Ellis, a young black woman in her late 20s, helped an elderly black woman count out bills for a money order, patient, warm, smiling like she had all the time in the world. At the other window, Brent Harlan. Brent was handling a white couple. He was all teeth, leaning forward, laughing at something the husband said. "Oh, absolutely. We'll get that wire processed right away. No problem at all." He shook their hands, both of them. Firm grip, big smile. The moment they walked away, the smile dropped like someone flipped a switch. Brent adjusted his nameplate, Brent Harlan, senior teller, like he was polishing a medal. He glanced over at Tamara's window, where the elderly black woman was asking about a fee. Brent rolled his eyes, did not even try to hide it. Tamara caught it and said nothing. Brent Harlan had been at this branch for several years, passed over for promotion more than once. He told anyone who would listen it was because of diversity quotas. His branch manager, Victor Lang, played golf with Brent's father. They went back a long way. Multiple complaints had been filed against Brent over the years, all from black or Latino customers, all saying the same thing. He was rude, dismissive, hostile. All those complaints landed on Victor Lang's desk. All disappeared. No investigation, no write-up, no record. Brent never even knew they existed. And that made him comfortable, untouchable even. He believed he could say whatever he wanted to whoever he wanted. And then Marcus Hale walked through the door. Marcus did not rush. He walked across the lobby the way a man walks when he knows exactly where he is going. Shoulders relaxed, hands at his sides, eyes forward. Several customers were ahead of him in line. He waited. A mother with a toddler on her hip, an older man in a plaid shirt, a college kid with a backpack, all white. All served without incident. Brent smiled at each one, made small talk, called the older man sir, told the mother her baby was adorable. Then the line was empty. And Marcus stepped forward. Brent was looking at his screen, typing something. He did not look up. Marcus waited. Brent kept typing. His jaw tightened just slightly. He knew someone was standing there. He just did not care. Marcus placed his ID on the counter. The soft click of plastic on marble. Brent's eyes flicked to the ID, then up. Slowly he scanned Marcus the way someone inspects a stain on a white shirt, starting at the sneakers, grass-stained, muddy from the soccer field, up to the jeans, faded, comfortable. The Henley shirt, untucked, no logo. Then the face, black. Brent's expression did not change. It hardened. Can I help you? Not a question. A wall. Marcus slid the deposit slip across. I'd like to deposit $2.5 million into this account. Brent looked at the slip, looked at Marcus, looked at the slip again. Then he laughed. Not a chuckle. A laugh. Short, sharp, through the nose, the kind that says, "You're joking, right?" $2.5 million? Brent repeated it slowly, like he was explaining a math problem to a child. You want to deposit $2.5 million? That's correct. Brent pushed the deposit slip back across the counter. Did not slide it. Pushed it with his fingertip, like it was contaminated. I'm going to need multiple forms of ID for something like this. Marcus nodded. He pulled out a second ID, his passport, placed it beside the driver's license. Both aligned neatly on the counter. Brent picked up the driver's license, held it to the light, tilted it left, tilted it right, squinted at the hologram like he was examining a counterfeit bill at a flea market. He did not do this for the white couple before Marcus. He did not do this for the older man in plaid. He did not do this for the college kid. This doesn't look right, Brent muttered. It's a valid state-issued ID, Marcus said. Brent ignored him. He placed the license flat on the counter and started typing, slowly, one key at a time. His eyes moved between the screen and Marcus's face like he was cross-referencing a mugshot. Time passed. Brent sucked his teeth, shook his head. System's not pulling anything up. Marcus tilted his head. That account has been active for years. Well, I don't know what to tell you. Brent shrugged. It's not showing. Maybe you've got the wrong bank. He did not have the wrong bank, and the system was not broken. The narrator would learn later, during the investigation, that Brent never entered the account number at all. He typed random keys. He never searched. He had already decided Marcus did not belong here. Brent leaned back in his chair and folded his arms. Look, where exactly did this money come from? Marcus blinked. Excuse me. The $2.5 million? Where'd it come from? Because I've been working in this bank for years, and people who look like you don't walk in here with that kind of money. The words landed like a brick through glass. The elderly woman at Tamara's window froze. Tamara's hand stopped mid-keystroke. A man in the waiting area lowered his newspaper. Marcus's jaw tightened. A vein pulsed at his temple, but his voice stayed level. I'm a customer of this bank. I have a valid account. I provided 2 forms of government-issued identification. I'd like you to process my deposit. Brent did not move. He looked at Marcus the way you look at something stuck to the bottom of your shoe. Step aside. I'm sorry. Step aside. Brent pointed to the roped-off waiting area. I have other customers to help. You can wait over there until we figure out what's going on with your situation. Marcus did not step aside. He turned slightly and looked behind him. There was exactly one person in line, a white man in a golf shirt holding a single check. The man raised his hand awkwardly. "I can wait. It's really no problem." Brent did not acknowledge him. He stared at Marcus. "Sir, I'm asking you to move." Marcus turned back to Brent. "And I'm asking you to do your job." Something shifted in Brent's face. The mask slipped. The professional veneer cracked. What was underneath was raw and ugly. "Victor!" Brent's voice rang out across the lobby. "Victor, I need you over here." Victor Lang emerged from his glass-walled office in the back corner. White, mid-50s, soft around the middle. He walked with the kind of authority that comes from managing the same branch for years without anyone questioning him. He buttoned his blazer as he approached. His eyes bounced between Brent and Marcus and made a calculation in moments. "What's going on here?" Victor's voice was practiced, smooth. The voice of a man who had diffused complaints by making them disappear. Brent leaned in and whispered just loud enough for the narrator to piece together later from witness testimony. "This guy says he wants to deposit $2.5 million. Something's off, Victor. Way off." Victor looked at Marcus, put on a smile that did not reach his eyes. "Sir, I apologize for the inconvenience. We just need to make sure everything's in order. Standard procedure, you understand?" Marcus met his gaze. "I understand. Everything is in order. I'd like to complete my deposit." Victor glanced at the 2 IDs on the counter. He did not pick them up. He did not look at the account number. He did not check the system. "Tell you what," Victor said, crossing his arms. "Why don't you come back another day? Bring some additional documentation, proof of funds, maybe a bank statement from the originating account, and we'll get this all sorted out for you." Marcus's eyes narrowed slightly. "What specific documentation are you requesting?" Victor's smile flickered. His mouth opened, closed, opened again. "Just, whatever you have." "I have 2 valid IDs and an active account. What else do you need?" Victor did not answer. He looked at Brent. Brent looked at Victor. A silent agreement passed between them. Brent straightened up in his chair, squared his shoulders, and then, loud enough for the entire lobby to hear, said the words that would end his career. "We don't do handouts here." The lobby went dead quiet. "Whatever you're looking for, charity, a scam, whatever this is, it's not happening at my window." Brent pointed at the door. His finger was steady. His face was stone. "Leave, now!" A woman near the entrance gasped. The man in the golf shirt took a step back. Tamara's hand rose to her mouth. Marcus stood perfectly still. His hands did not clench. His voice did not rise. He looked at Brent with an expression that was hard to read. Not anger, exactly. Something deeper. Sadder. He picked up his IDs from the counter, slowly, one at a time, slid them back into his wallet. Then he looked Brent dead in the eye. "I want your full name, and I want the branch manager to formally document why you are refusing to process a legitimate transaction for a verified customer." Brent smirked. "My name's on the plate, pal, and the only thing getting documented today is you leaving this building." Victor Lang said nothing. He stood beside Brent with his arms folded, a unified front, 2 men who had been getting away with this for years. Marcus nodded, once, slowly. "Okay." He did not leave. He stepped to the side, pulled out his phone, and dialed a number. Brent watched him. The smirk faded. Just a fraction. Something about the way Marcus dialed, unhurried, deliberate, like a man executing a plan, made the air in the room shift. Brent watched Marcus dial. For several seconds, something flickered behind his eyes. Uncertainty. A crack in the armor, but it died fast. Whatever doubt tried to crawl in, Brent's pride stomped it flat. He reached for the bank phone, picked it up like a weapon. "Yeah, I need police at Heritage Community Bank." His voice was loud, deliberately loud. He wanted Marcus to hear every word. "We've got a man here refusing to leave, causing a disturbance, possibly attempting fraud." He paused, listened. Black male, tall, jeans, sneakers. He looked directly at Marcus as he said it, smiling. "Yeah, he's still here." He hung up, leaned back, crossed his arms like a man who had just played his winning card. "Cops are on their way." Brent tilted his head. "Last chance to walk out on your own 2 feet." Marcus did not look at him. He was still on his phone, speaking quietly, too quietly for Brent to hear. Calm, measured, like a man placing an order for coffee. Not a man who had just had the police called on him. That calm, it bothered Brent more than anything. Marcus's refusal to break, to flinch, to show fear, it gnawed at him like a splinter under the skin. Tamara Ellis sat frozen at her window. Her hands were in her lap. Her screen had gone to sleep. She stared at the counter, jaw clenched, blinking hard. She wanted to say something. God, she wanted to. She had been at this branch for several months. Months of watching Brent make comments under his breath when black customers walked in. Months of hearing him joke with Victor about certain people and their creative accounting. Months of needing this job. The paycheck, the insurance, the stability. Too much to risk losing it. But watching a man get the police called on him for depositing his own money, this crossed a line she could feel in her stomach. A woman near the entrance had pulled out her phone. The red recording light blinked steadily. She did not try to hide it. Brent was too focused on his own performance to notice. Victor Lang had retreated to the far edge of the lobby, not intervening, not correcting Brent, just standing with his hands in his pockets, watching the situation he helped create with the blank expression of a man who had perfected the art of doing nothing. 8 minutes later, a patrol car pulled into the lot. No siren, no lights, just the quick chirp of tires on pavement and the heavy thud of a car door. Officer Kyle Ramsey walked in. Early 30s, clean uniform, buzz cut. One hand resting on his belt, not on his weapon, but close enough that Marcus noticed. Close enough that Tamara noticed. Close enough that every black person in that lobby felt the temperature drop. His eyes swept the room the way a man scans a space, when he has already been told who the problem is. Brent met him halfway, animated, pointing. "That's him right there. Refused to leave twice. Claims he wants to deposit millions." Brent dropped his voice, but not enough. "Honestly, officer, I think he's casing the place. You know how it goes." Ramsey looked across the lobby. Marcus stood by the counter, phone in his pocket, hands visible. Still, he did not shift or fidget. Did not do any of the things a guilty man does when a uniform walks through the door. Ramsey approached. His boots echoed on the marble. "Sir, I'm going to need you to step outside with me." Marcus met his eyes. "Officer, I'm a customer of this bank. I came in to make a deposit. I was refused service without explanation. I have every right to be here." Ramsey glanced back at Brent. "Bank staff says you were asked to leave." "I was, after being denied a legitimate transaction. I've provided 2 forms of ID. I've raised my voice 0 times. I've threatened no one." "I still need to see some ID." Marcus handed over his license without hesitation. Ramsey studied it, walked to the entrance, keyed his shoulder radio, and ran it. The lobby waited. Minutes passed. The fluorescent lights hummed. The air conditioning clicked on with a low rattle. Somewhere in the back, a printer whirred and went silent. Ramsey came back. His expression had changed. The edge was gone. In its place, confusion. "He's clean," Ramsey said to Brent. "No warrants, no flags, nothing." Brent's face tightened like a fist. "I don't care if he's clean. He's not a customer here. Look at him." Ramsey paused. What do you mean, look at him? I mean, look at him. Brent gestured at Marcus. His clothes, his shoes, his skin. One sweeping motion, head to toe. Does that look like a man with $2.5 million? Use your eyes. The words sat in the air like smoke from a fire no one wanted to name. Ramsey stared at Brent. Something behind the officer's eyes shifted. He was beginning to understand what this was actually about, but Brent could not stop. The momentum of his own arrogance carried him forward like a car with no brakes. I've been in banking for years. I know what money looks like when it walks through that door. He jabbed a finger toward Marcus. And that is not it. Victor Lang stepped forward, not to stop Brent, to reinforce him. Officer, we have the right to refuse service. Bank policy. We felt the transaction was suspicious and acted accordingly. Marcus spoke, quiet, but every word sharp enough to cut glass. Can you show me the specific policy that allows you to refuse a verified customer with valid identification attempting a lawful deposit? Victor's smile froze. Can you cite the regulation, the clause, the section number? Nothing. Can either of you explain on record in front of these witnesses and that camera? Marcus's eyes moved to the woman recording, then back. Why the white couple before me processed a large wire transfer with a smile and a handshake, while I can't deposit my own money without the police being called. The lobby was so quiet, you could hear the air conditioning breathing through the vents. Brent's neck turned deep red. His fists balled at his sides. I don't have to explain myself to you. His voice cracked. Leave this bank right now, or I swear I'll have you arrested for trespassing. He turned to Ramsey, eyes wild. I want to press charges. Disruption of business, trespassing, whatever you can write up. Ramsey did not move. He looked at Brent, then Marcus, then the woman with the phone. Sir, Ramsey said slowly, he has valid ID. His record is clean. He hasn't raised his voice or made threats. I can't arrest a man for standing inside a bank. Brent's face went purple. Then what the hell are you here for? Ramsey did not answer. Tamara Ellis pushed back from her desk quietly. She stood, smoothed her blouse, and walked toward Officer Ramsey. Her heart hammered in her throat. She leaned close and whispered, just barely loud enough. He didn't do anything wrong. Brent never even searched the account. I watched him. He typed random keys. Ramsey looked at her. She held his gaze, did not blink. He nodded once. Marcus, a short distance away, caught the exchange. His expression shifted. Just barely. Not relief. Something closer to recognition. One person in this building saw him as human. Then Marcus looked at Brent. For the first time, his expression truly changed. Not anger. Something deeper, older. The quiet exhaustion of a man who has stood in this exact spot, different room, different city, different face behind the counter, many times before. You have no idea what you've just done. Brent's chin lifted. Is that a threat? No. Marcus's voice was barely above a whisper. It's a fact. His phone buzzed. A single text from Elias Grant, sitting in the car nearby, watching through the glass. They're minutes out. Marcus slid the phone into his pocket. Outside, through the glass doors, a black Escalade turned into the parking lot. Slow, deliberate. It moved like it had all the time in the world. It parked directly in front of the entrance. Brent watched it. The redness crept from his neck to his ears. His mouth opened slightly. Two doors opened at the same time. A woman in a charcoal suit, a man in a dark tie, carrying a leather portfolio. They walked toward the entrance side by side, heels clicking on pavement in perfect, unhurried rhythm. Brent swallowed. His throat was dry. Something told him, deep in his gut, in the part of the brain that recognizes danger before the mind catches up, that those two people were not here to make a deposit. The glass door swung open, and Brent Harlan's entire career walked through it. The woman in the charcoal suit walked in first. She moved the way people move when they own the ground beneath them. Back straight, chin level, eyes already locked on target. Behind her, the man with the leather portfolio held the door. His face was unreadable. Lawyer face. Brent straightened up behind his counter. Instinct. The suit, the posture, the escalade, everything about these two screamed authority. The kind of authority Brent respected, the kind he obeyed. "Can I help?" The woman walked right past him, did not even glance in his direction. She stopped in front of Marcus, and then something happened that rewired every brain in that lobby. She extended her hand. Both hands, actually. She took Marcus's hand and held it the way you hold the hand of someone you answer to. "Mr. Hale?" Her voice carried across the marble. "I am so sorry. We weren't expecting you yet." The room did not just go quiet, it vacuum sealed. Brent's mouth opened. Nothing came out. His hand was still raised from his half-greeting, frozen mid-air like a broken animatronic. Victor Lang took one step backward, just one, but it was the step of a man whose legs were deciding things before his brain could catch up. Lorraine Whitaker, VP of Compliance at Heritage Community Bank, turned to face Brent and Victor. She did not rush. She let the silence do the work first. "Do either of you know who this man is?" Brent blinked. His jaw worked up and down. No sound. Victor shook his head. A tiny, desperate movement. Lorraine nodded, slowly. "This is Marcus Hale, founder and CEO of Summit Equity Group." She paused. Let each word land like a stone dropped into still water. His firm completed a controlling acquisition of Heritage Community Bank recently. Every branch, every account, every employee. She looked at Brent. "He is effectively your employer." The woman with the phone whispered, "Oh my God." The recording light was still blinking. The elderly man in the waiting area lowered his newspaper all the way to his lap. The mother with the toddler covered her mouth. Brent's face went through several colors in moments, red to white to gray to something that did not have a name. His hands dropped to the counter. His fingers gripped the edge like the floor had just tilted beneath him. "That's..." Brent's voice came out thin, cracked. "That's not... I didn't..." He could not finish a sentence. Every word he tried to form collapsed before it left his mouth. Marcus looked at him, calm, unhurried. The same steadiness he had carried since the moment he walked through that door. But now the context had changed, and that calmness did not look like weakness anymore. It looked like power. Absolute, patient, terrifying power. Marcus spoke, not loudly. He did not need to. "I came here today to see how this branch operates. No title, no announcement, just a man walking into a bank to make a deposit." He paused. "Now I've seen it." He turned to Officer Ramsey. "Officer, you can go. There's no crime here, except maybe the one committed against me." Ramsey nodded. He looked at Brent one last time, a look that carried something between pity and contempt, and walked out without a word. The glass door swung shut behind him. Marcus turned back to Brent. The lobby held its breath. "You refused to process my deposit. You questioned where my money came from. You told me this bank doesn't do handouts. You called the police." Marcus listed each offense the way a judge reads charges, flat, factual, devastating. "You did all of this in front of a lobby full of witnesses, in front of a security camera, and in front of that woman's phone." Brent's eyes darted to the woman still recording, then back. His face was slick with sweat. "Mr. Hale, sir." The word "sir" came out like it physically hurt him to say. "I was just doing my job. I didn't know. I couldn't have known." "Known what?" Marcus's voice did not rise. It dropped. "That a black man could own this bank? That's the part you couldn't imagine? Brent's mouth opened, closed, opened. Nothing. Victor Lang stepped forward. His hands were up, palms out, the universal gesture of a man trying to shrink a disaster he helped build. Mr. Hale, I'm sure this was just a misunderstanding. Brent is one of our most experienced... It wasn't a misunderstanding. Marcus's voice cut through Victor's sentence like a blade through paper. A misunderstanding is getting someone's name wrong. A misunderstanding is processing the wrong form. This... Marcus gestured at the counter, at Brent, at the phone still in Brent's hand, at the space where Officer Ramsey had stood minutes ago. This was a choice. Your employee made a choice, and you stood beside him and made the same one. Victor's mouth clamped shut. His hands dropped to his sides. The corporate attorney opened his leather portfolio, pulled out a single sheet of paper, held it at his side ready. Lorraine Whitaker stepped forward, and Brent Harlan understood with perfect, sickening clarity that the next words out of her mouth were going to end everything. Lorraine Whitaker did not raise her voice. She did not need to. The lobby was so silent that every syllable hit like a hammer on glass. Brent Harlan. Brent flinched at the sound of his own name. You are suspended from this branch effective immediately, pending a full internal investigation into your conduct today and every complaint that has ever been filed against you at this institution. Brent's hands trembled on the counter. His lips moved before his brain could stop them. Suspended for what? I was protecting the bank. I was doing my job. Your job? Lorraine repeated. The word landed like a slap. Your job is to serve customers. All customers. Not to interrogate them. Not to humiliate them, and certainly not to call the police on a man for the crime of making a deposit while black. But I didn't know who he was. That's the point. Lorraine's voice dropped, cold, surgical. It shouldn't matter who he is. If Marcus Hale had been a janitor with a modest amount to deposit, you should have treated him with the same respect you gave that white couple before him. The fact that you didn't, that's not a mistake. That's a pattern. Brent opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. He looked like a fish pulled from water, gasping, desperate, drowning in air. Please surrender your employee badge and any bank-issued materials, now. Brent's fingers fumbled at his lanyard. His hands were shaking so badly he could not unclip it. He yanked it over his head. The badge clattered onto the counter, face up. Brent Harlan, senior teller. The title he had polished like a medal every single morning. Now it just looked like evidence. The corporate attorney stepped forward, placed the single sheet of paper on the counter. This is a formal notice of suspension. You'll receive communication from our legal department regarding next steps. You are not to contact any colleagues, access any bank systems, or enter any Heritage Community branch until further notice. Brent stared at the paper. He did not pick it up. This isn't fair, he whispered. I gave this bank years. Nobody responded. Lorraine turned to Victor Lang. Victor had been inching backwards since the Escalade pulled up. He was now pressed against the far wall like a man trying to melt into the paint. Victor? He froze. Multiple complaints were filed against Brent Harlan over the years, all from customers of color, all describing the same behavior we witnessed today. Lorraine's eyes were steady, unblinking. Every single one of those complaints landed on your desk, and every single one disappeared. No investigation, no documentation, no follow-up. Victor's face was gray, the color of old newspaper. Lorraine, those complaints, the situations were ambiguous. Ambiguous. Lorraine let the word hang. A man was denied a savings account for his teenage son because Brent told them, and I'm quoting the complaint, "This isn't the kind of bank for your kind of family." You found that ambiguous? Victor said nothing. His Adam's apple bobbed. "We'll be discussing your role in this extensively, Victor. I'd suggest you contact your own attorney." The corporate attorney gestured toward the door. Brent looked at it, polished marble between him and the exit. The same door he had pointed Marcus toward earlier. Now it was his turn to walk through it. Brent picked up the suspension notice, folded it with shaking hands, tucked it into his shirt pocket. He did not look at anyone. Could not. He walked past the woman with the phone, still recording, past the elderly man with the newspaper, past the mother holding her toddler, a little tighter. The glass door swung shut behind him. Nobody said goodbye. The lobby exhaled. Marcus stood still for a long moment. Then he walked over to Tamara's window. Tamara Ellis was standing behind her desk. Tears were running down her cheeks, but her back was straight. She wiped her face with the back of her hand. Marcus stopped in front of her. His voice was quiet, just for her. "You were the only person in this building who tried to do the right thing." Tamara shook her head. "I should have said something sooner. I should have—" "You said it when it mattered. That took more courage than you know." He turned to Lorraine. "Make sure her actions are documented in the investigation file, every word." Lorraine nodded. "Already noted?" Tamara pressed her lips together, nodded once. A small moment. But in a room full of people who had stayed silent, it meant everything. Vanessa Thorpe, the woman with the phone, posted the video that evening. No filter, no edits, no caption except 3 words. "Watch this." All of it. The video spread rapidly. It was everywhere. Social media platforms, Reddit threads with thousands of comments, group chats, family dinners, barbershops, and break rooms across the country. The clip that went most viral was seconds long. Brent leaning forward, teeth bared, finger pointed, and his voice sharp, dripping with disgust. "I don't care. You black guy, get out." That was all it took to end a man's life as he knew it. Local news picked it up first. Then it spread further. The video was discussed on major networks. Publications ran pieces with headlines highlighting the incident. Brent Harlan's name was no longer just a name. It was a headline, a hashtag, a punchline, a warning. And then the internet did what the internet does. It started digging. Brent's old social media posts surfaced. Screenshots spread like wildfire. Racist jokes, derogatory comments. Then came more. He deleted all his social media accounts soon after. Every platform, every trace. Too late. The screenshots were already archived, already shared, already burned into the public record. His phone number was leaked. He changed it. His landlord received multiple calls from strangers asking if Brent still lived there. A neighbor told a reporter Brent had not left his apartment in days. The world had found Brent Harlan, and the world was not done with him. Inside Heritage Community Bank, the reckoning moved faster. Lorraine Whitaker retained an outside law firm, specialists in workplace discrimination and regulatory compliance, to conduct a full independent investigation. The scope was broad. Every complaint, every personnel file, every transaction log from Brent's window for years, the findings arrived. Brent Harlan had violated federal banking regulations, specifically the Equal Credit Opportunity Act and core principles of the Community Reinvestment Act. He had systematically treated customers of color with hostility, suspicion, and contempt. The investigation confirmed what Tamara had whispered to Officer Ramsey. Brent never entered Marcus's account number into the system. He typed random characters. He never searched. He had decided Marcus did not belong before he even opened his mouth. But Brent was not the only one exposed. Victor Lang's role unraveled. Multiple formal complaints against Brent, all from Black or Latino customers, had been filed over the years. Complaint 1. Brent refused to open a savings account for a Black teenager and his mother, telling them, "This isn't the kind of bank for your kind of family." Complaint 2. Brent demanded a Latina woman, provide multiple forms of ID for a withdrawal, then told her to go back to whatever bank serves your people. Complaint 3. Brent called security on a black business owner trying to deposit a cashier's check, claiming it looked fake. All those complaints reached Victor Lang's desk. All were marked resolved. No action required. No investigation was launched. No report was filed. No record was kept. Victor Lang did not just ignore discrimination. He institutionalized it. The board acted within days of receiving the report. Brent Harlan terminated with cause. Immediate, no severance, no letter of recommendation. His personnel file was flagged and forwarded to the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency. The OCC opened its own review and issued a formal enforcement action. Brent Harlan was barred from employment in any federally regulated financial institution. He would never work in banking again. Victor Lang terminated for gross negligence, dereliction of supervisory duty, and systematic suppression of discrimination complaints. His tenure ended. His nameplate was removed from his office door before he finished packing his desk. But Marcus Hale was not finished. He did not file a complaint for himself. He filed on behalf of the customers, whose voices had been buried for years. The black mother and her son, the Latina woman, the black business owner. 3 people who had been wronged, silenced, and forgotten. Marcus's legal team contacted each of them personally, explained what had happened, offered full legal representation at no cost. All 3 agreed to participate. The case was filed as a civil rights complaint. It triggered a broader investigation into discriminatory lending and service practices across the region. Brent Harlan and Victor Lang were named individually as defendants. Brent's attorney took one look at the evidence, the video, the investigation report, the social media posts, the customer testimonies, and advised him to settle immediately. Fighting this in court would be public, prolonged, and devastating. Brent settled. The terms included a formal public apology, a financial contribution to a civil rights legal defense fund, and a signed acknowledgement of wrongdoing. The apology was televised. Brent sat at a table in a conference room. No tie. Wrinkled shirt. He read from a prepared statement. His hands shook. His voice cracked twice. He said he was sorry. He said he understood the harm he caused. He said he would do better. The narrator noticed he never once looked into the camera. Victor Lang settled separately, quietly. No press conference, no public statement, just a check and a signature, and a man who disappeared from the industry like he was never there. Under Marcus's direction, Heritage Community Bank implemented mandatory anti-bias training across all branches. A new complaint system was established independent of branch managers reporting directly to compliance. And Marcus personally funded a community oversight board inviting local leaders, civil rights advocates, and former customers who had experienced discrimination to sit on it. The bank that had once treated a black man like a trespasser was now being rebuilt from the inside by the man they tried to throw out. Months later, the branch looked the same from the outside. Same glass, same limestone, same American flag hanging limp in the corner. But inside, everything was different. Marcus Hale still ran Summit Equity Group, still managed billions in assets, still wore sneakers to his daughter's soccer games on Saturday mornings. Layla had scored more goals since that day. Marcus had not missed a single one, but now he also chaired the Open Door Initiative, a scholarship and small business loan program for underserved communities funded entirely through Heritage Community Bank. Not a PR stunt, not a press release wrapped around an empty promise. A real program with real money changing real lives. The first round of scholarships went to students. One of them was the son of the black woman Brent had turned away years earlier, the boy whose mother was told, "This isn't the kind of bank for your kind of family." That boy was now studying finance. Marcus never mentioned that publicly. He did not need to. The boy's mother told the story herself in an interview that went viral on its own. She cried twice during the recording. Not from sadness, from the relief of finally being heard. Tamara Ellis was promoted to assistant branch manager. She did not campaign for it, did not politic, did not ask. Lorraine Whitaker recommended her personally, citing exceptional integrity under extraordinary pressure. Tamara now led new hire orientation at the branch. Every session started the same way. She would stand in front of the room, hands clasped, voice steady, and say, "The person standing in front of your window is a human being. Before you see what they're wearing, before you see the color of their skin, before you see anything else, you see a human being. That's where this job starts. If you can't do that, this isn't the place for you." Nobody who heard that speech ever forgot it, and nobody who sat through it ever wanted to become the next Brent Harlan. Elias Grant, Marcus's godfather, the retired federal judge who sat in the SUV that morning watching everything through the glass, wrote an op-ed. The title? "I watched a man be denied his dignity in a building he owned." It was shared widely. Law schools added it to their civil rights curriculum. Elias told Marcus afterward, "That op-ed was the most important thing I ever put on paper." Brent Harlan moved out of state, changed his phone number. His LinkedIn profile read, "Open to opportunities," for months before he deleted it entirely. Every employer who Googled his name found the video before they found his resume. Every interview ended the same way, a polite handshake and a call that never came. He got a job eventually, stocking shelves at a hardware store in a small town far away. No customers, no counter, no nameplate to polish every morning. The man who once barked orders across a marble lobby now unpacked boxes in a windowless stockroom. Alone. Victor Lang was never rehired in banking. His name sat in the enforcement records, public, permanent, searchable. His wife filed for divorce months after his termination. He sold the house and moved in with his brother. He never played golf with Brent's father again. And that's what stays with me. Not the twist, not Brent's face going white, not the settlement or the headlines. It's the minutes before any of that happened. The minutes when Marcus Hale was just a man in jeans and sneakers. No title, no Escalade, no VP of compliance on speed dial, being told to get out, being called trash in a building full of people who said nothing. Marcus had power. Because of that power, he got justice. But what about the people who do not? The mother Brent turned away. She did not have $1 billion firm behind her. She just took her son's hand, walked out, and never came back. How many people walk out and never come back? That's the question that keeps me up at night. So, let me ask you, and really think before you answer. Have you ever been somewhere you had every right to be, and been made to feel like you did not belong? What did you do? And what do you wish someone else in that room had done? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. If this story made you feel something, angry, hopeful, or both, hit that like button. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe if you have not. Because stories like this only matter if people hear them. I'll see you in the next one. Nah, but imagine losing everything just because you looked at someone's skin and decided they do not belong. That's crazy, for real. Your skin color does not define your worth, ever. Treat people like people, bro. It's literally not that hard. Imagine losing everything just because you looked at someone's skin and decided they do not belong. That's crazy, for real. Your skin color does not define your worth, ever. Treat people like people, bro. It's literally not that hard.